Pasha, YNet7. Thank you for tuning the replay. Give me 1 second. I wasn't even gonna. I actually didn't have a planned video today. I gave you guys what I thought was some pretty good content yesterday, twofold, and there's this thing called Facebook memories, right? And it's kind of interesting because if you treat Facebook like your journal, okay, it's amazing sometimes the timing of memories and how they serve you when they return to you, when they are recalled. I have a lot of conversations going on recently. A lot of people, feel some type of way about me. That's okay. I'm cool with that. Both good and bad or negative, because the people that formulate opinions and have judgments, they don't know the whole story. And a lot of people, when they're trying to discredit a person, you have to ask yourself, what benefit does that serve them? Or else why would they even put the energy out? You know what I mean? I have plenty of negative things I can say about people, but that doesn't contribute to the purpose that I'm trying to achieve in the community, so why waste the time and effort? At the same time, I promote everybody around me in some way, shape, or form, because why would I keep you a secret? So the memory that came up today actually made me say, I shared the post on Facebook. It had 93 comments. We're going to get to in a second, in a moment, what that was actually about. And the thing is, what I realized is, because a lot of people don't understand, why I carry such a sense of urgency and, Pasha and all this stuff, blah, 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 blah. They got a lot to say. They got a lot to say because I'm doing everything I can without limitation. Some people, they do very little with great abundance. And to the untrained mind, to the untrained eye, it appears to be great value. It sounds so good. Just like many politicians. I chose the background behind me today because when I was 20 years old, I was already representing our people in boardrooms of corporate America as a senior account manager at Discover Financial. I was already fighting for the people before it became popular, before it became fun, before it was trendy, before you started thinking about you can make money off of this for yourself. So I know what it takes to get projects done my whole life. Those that know me know I spent time doing things that were very project related without going into detail. They know I know how to organize. My thing was, I just got tired of putting the extra work in to have to control people, to have to run the game on people only because they weren't connected with why certain things need to be done. I still could get them to get it done, but I realize that's the whole wrong approach. You know, it's a lot of people out there that take pride in how they control people, at least in their mind. Some people like people think they controlling me. They don't realize I'm giving them the channels to make certain moves in because I want them to do that. Matter of fact, I need them to do that. They think it's their own idea. Like I said, I've been really good at controlling people for a long time. But I don't want to control people. I'd rather be surrounded with people that want the same thing, because then you no longer have to control them. You can actually work with them. Totally different environment, totally different experience, totally different productivity level, totally different value added to the community. See, because I'm here doing what I do for the value added to the community, not for the value added to my ego or the value added to my financial stability. Matter of fact, everything you see me do, I've done on my own dollar. And then when I go and talk to the people that have access to the big dollars about what we need for the community, today's memory on Facebook reminded me of where my frustration arose or came from with people in general. Because when you know things and you do things before it's popular, you don't have much support. When you're the one crying out that the redcoats are coming, and if the colonies were laughing at you, the United States of America would be totally different right now. So my question at this point, because what I'm about to show you, the original post and conversation and people involved, we all had access to this information opportunity 4 years ago. And I'm going to show you how devastating it is when you don't take me serious with this post. That is why I'm the way I am. Because there is a great sense of urgency for we the people of the America, of the world, to actually come together to do something. And time is running out. Meanwhile, you got people playing around, wasting resources, gaining titles, gaining position, and thinking they've accomplished something. See, when you arrive here in these boardrooms, they feel like they arrived. When I arrive to the boardroom, I know the work just begun. There's people that won't respect me or this video because they can't relate to actually getting things done more than they can relate to the craving of needing to be popular or needing to be liked or needing to feel like they have some money, which is fake anyway. It's currency. It doesn't really exist. So you have nothing. And whatever you bought with those resources don't exist anyway. But let's get into the real detail here. What's up, Hood? So here's the post, okay? And the reason I'm doing the video, like when I was sharing it on Facebook, I realized, like when it say see more, there's it would have just been a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But the post that I shared gives you a high level overview and scan. And then I can do the video now, we can go into more depth and detail. So the first thing is, let's take a look. Originally I tagged, I guess it was a total of 32 people. It was probably a little more because some people are blocked right now, so they probably aren't showing up on the Facebook here. But let's get at the list just so we can see, because I still got people all over that. The East Coast, the West Coast community is really growing. Respect. I appreciate y'all's support. And some of y'all are new, so you're not gonna actually, even if you're new, you may recognize some of these names. And I want to show you how important this is. You know what happens when you laugh at certain people. This is how much it costs the community. When you side with this person instead of this person for stupid reasons at the end of the day, this is how much it costs the community. This is how popularity destroys the community. Because the truth, for a long time, the truth has been uncommon, unpopular. And I'm under a lot of attack, like many of us right now. Because why? Because we speak the truth. And you got people gaslighting you and trying to crush everything you say and do because they don't want to accept the truth. They want to tell you you can't have the truth. That's your truth. No, it's not a you and me truth. It's a the truth. See, you just don't want to accept it because then it makes you question yourselves, or it make not you maybe because you're watching, but the people that you know who I'm talking about around you. This is why they can't have you around at the same time. You destroy their purpose, their agenda, their ego. You take their bliss away. All right, let's get into this because it's gonna take a minute. I want you to see why Pasha the way Pasha is today. This 4 years later. All right, like you can keep doing the same thing, expecting the same results. That's what they call insanity, right? So when you say why Pasha don't fool with certain people, or why he's so quick to cut people off, it's because I've seen this all before. Let's get into this. Now if it was something less significant, non-politically, then I would keep the names private. But this is kind of like a bunch of politicians. So let's take a look at who was on this list originally. We got R. McGill. We got all these people. Just take a moment and look at the names. You may or may not recognize some. You may recognize some. Some are missing, like I said, because they've been blocked. But what I try to do is I actually look to invest in the leadership in the communities, because I speak a language I know that everybody don't understand, called the truth. However, if I give the truth to the leaders and they each got 5 or 10,000 people underneath of them, they can translate it to them, organize their team. I don't need to be the face of anything. I'm Pasha. I got enough shit I'm dealing with. Okay? So I try to invest these opportunities in the leaders of the communities so that they can go and make their community great and empower them so we can build towards a common destination. And I'm just tired of being disappointed. That's really what it comes down to. I'm just tired of being disappointed because people don't know what's at risk. People don't know that, 4 years ago, they thought everything was gravy. They thought shit was sweet. So, why the fuck we gonna pay attention to him? Why we gonna want to really press and get this investment, get this money pulled down so we could do this in the community? What he want? Put his name on it? What he want? They got all these questions on why it shouldn't be done. But let me tell you what happened because they didn't do it. So you can pause the video. You can look this over. You'll see the names as we go on. Let's continue. So the original post, the original content said, if you know, State of the Union address. That used to be my thing when I was talking to the greater community. I still do it from time to time. So if you or someone you know are experienced in homeschooling, your sons and daughters, it's 2017. Okay, I'm talking like this. And they have graduated high school and or college early, please comment your name or tag the person you know in the comments below. And the reason why I asked that just like that is because I was looking for experienced people, not just necessarily all people, just to have the conversation about things that they didn't know. I'm open to people that talk about things they don't know because you can still learn from it. They ask good questions, even though because they don't know, sometimes they ask amazing questions, and it really helps you refine a process or project. So that's how I like to run my shit. I like to get a mixture of experts and novice and layman, because together that pot's gonna be a good mixture of ideas. This is why I like Facebook. You know, I can't speak for the people that's on here playing games. Because you'll see people that talk about you because you spend time on Facebook because they assume you're doing what they are doing on here, which is bullshit. So they got to gaslight your time that you spend on the internet because you must be wasting your time, because every time I'm on there, I waste my time. So that must be what you're doing. No, motherfucker. We try to get shit done. And it's a very powerful tool to do that. But all y'all know how to do is play. So I put the request out. I said, I have questions for you to help me develop initiatives to ensure it becomes common for our community's sons and daughters to graduate college prior to turning 18. What I knew, and thank you for your cooperation, Pasha. Our future is now nation building, right? This is what I do. Look at my post today. They're very similar in weirdness to the people that's calling me weird. But let me tell you why this stuff happens. Because everything I ever said came to pass, or else I wouldn't waste my time sharing it with you. I'm a Virgo. We all about efficiency. We ain't got time to bullshit. So, the reason why I proposed this is because I already knew that you could actually get your son or daughter past the whole high school curriculum and graduated from college by 18. I just didn't actually have all the knowledge to know exactly how and what resources you needed to do it with. So I called this quote unquote digital meeting, right? To help formulate the idea and expose the idea to the communities, because I be knowing what shit's coming down the pipeline before it do. Now, if I stood up here and said, hey guys, it's going to be an emergency situation coming soon that, we going to have our sons and daughters at home, then we going to have to teach them, so we need to develop this now. Well, see, the problem with doing it that way is what do you call soon? Because this is November 2017. So by the time November 2018 came around, it would have been half the world discrediting me, talking about I'm conspiracy theorists, don't know what I'm talking about. So you know what? Let's not worry about the why for the people that aren't going to focus on the purpose. Let's just talk about the purpose. Because if you can't see the value of this, whether there's a emergency coming down the pipeline or whether it's daily business as usual, then you might not want to be a part of the nation that we build in anyway. You might not want to be a part of America. You might want to continue to be property of the United States. Okay? Because it's not going to work. All right? So let's continue. So I start off with this. Project Baltimore analyzed 2017 state test scores released this fall at the time. It says we paged through 16,000 lines of data and uncovered this. Of Baltimore City's 39 high schools, 13 had 0 students proficient in math. is this a national trend? Right? We're going to talk through this. See, so now what I can do is I can expand all to see more, and we can talk through the whole comments, okay? So stay with me. It's going to add value, and you're going to see how the people that, and don't isolate the people that's on this list, because I'm sure somebody somewhere was having similar conversations with the whoever you wanted to call the president, with whoever you want to call the governor, with whoever you want to call the mayor, with whoever you want to call the school superintendent, chief of whatever, okay? I remember I sent an email to our local head of school district, whatever the title was. I looked it up, got the information. They declined to meet, right? But this is who you worship. These are the people you celebrate. These are the people that when they put a Cash App up, you donate. And this is how they left you. All right. Excuse the bypass there. But I had enough a long time ago. So if so, right, going back to this, is this the national trend? If so, we can't throw more money at this, or politicians in Baltimore, for example, already they were spending $16,000 per year per student. So basically what this is talking about right here is that at the research I was doing at the time, based on the data from Baltimore, each student that was in the public school system got 16 grand for it to actually educate them for that year. This is why there's the No Child Left Behind, because when you look at a production or a factory assembly line, there's this thing that they want to get rid of called rework. That's part of what a project manager, process optimization guy like myself goes in and does with these large corporations. You optimize the process. So what they don't want to do is spend a bunch of money on rework if they can avoid it, because that's what additional cost to produce the same product. So if one student passed a grade and it cost $16,000, you don't want to have another student that took 3 years to do it, because that's going to be $48,000 spent on that one product. Now think about it. They're not thinking about them as human beings. They think about it as product. No child left behind means no product left behind. So they don't want to spend $48,000 off the top of my head. I think that's right. On one student when it should cost $16,000. So do you think they care about how proficient they are in math? No. Move them along. Get the check for the next set of students. Let's go. We got product to move. Just like any other work. You got work to move. You're going to move that work. Y'all don't get it, though. They don't get it, though. You might get it, but they don't get it. They didn't get it in 2017. This is why I got to do everything I can so I can get to the point where I can write the check myself. This is why they don't want you to know me. They'd rather you know the story they gave you about me. Because if you join me, then we might get our kids up out of this jail. And then what would they do? They can't talk and make things sound good because we be doing shit. So, all right, back to this, which mind you, is more than many private schools that deliver far better results. So the public school system in Baltimore gets 16 grand per student at the time. Remember, this is 2017, 4 years ago. You see the dates. You see the receipt dates. That's why they don't want you to talk to me. I got receipts. They don't got these receipts. Matter of fact, they got these receipts. They don't want to show them to you because you know what that would do. So anyway. So, public school system Baltimore, 16 grand per year per student. More expensive, less quality results than private schools. So we set up our own private school systems and redistribute the 16K per year per child. Private schooling as in homeschooling. Now you see why the public school system don't want to talk to me about this. You want to take all our product and divert the flow of cash flow to your own community, where your own community could You mean tell me you want your own community to make $16,000 per student that it has in their own community? Well, what kind of sense does that make? Why would you want to keep the money in the community? Why would you want to control the curriculum and give them more advanced curriculum? I mean, don't you want them dumbed down like we ship them out the door? I wonder they didn't want to talk to me. So anyway, I put this idea as designed by hashtag the brand, which was a DBA I was using. And I put my number in there. You know, this is why you don't see this circulating, because maybe because I said I designed the idea, it may not be any different than some other ideas. It may be a little different, but this is what I came up with. And this is what I brought everybody to the table to sit down and build with. And this is part of why they don't want you to know about me. So let's go. So once our communities adopt this, our sons and daughters could, in theory, complete 4 years of high school in approximately 2.5 years or less. That's fact. I did that research myself. Okay. So now we got Sherilyn says, this is definitely our plan. All right. And then I respond, so this, what do you think of when I see college grads at 14 to 17 years old? What are the hurdles? Like, I'm asking, what are the challenges to overcome? Like I said in the beginning, I knew it could be done. I just didn't know what to expect. And I wanted to talk to people who had experience, people that didn't. Let's generate ideas. Let's have a brainstorming session. Let's put together a destination for the public that we can all agree upon and start working towards 4 years ago. All right. And feel free to tag your comrades in this post to serve as a catalyst. Like, invite the people that know, you got people in your circle, but why didn't they invite nobody? Like, I look back over this and it just reminded me of why I feel the way I do right now. So much is displayed here if you just look. And it's not, it's not an attack on the personal people here, because they all represent somebody else in the world elsewhere that did the same exact thing. So, all right. So indeed, because the majority of these stories include the children's were homeschoolers, mine's 9, 7, and 1, and just making sure I incorporate enough science and math into our curriculum. And she goes on to say, and I am unfortunately the only one out of my group of friends to take this on, but I am in some black homeschoolers groups. So right now, that's something right here. And this is why I like talking to people, because you learn so much. Why is it that she's the only one in her here? Why is it that she's the only one out of her group of friends? Like, my thing that people call me, whatever they call me about, is like, well, how can you, if you guys aren't into the same stuff and accomplishing the same goals, like, y'all are in competition. So by definition, and I could break that down in another video if you like, but how can you say that that's your friends if y'all not working? Like, I don't do titles. That's why I don't understand all this emotional connection, attachment shit, because when you look at the math of it, it don't make sense. How are you the only one out of your group of friends doing this? Like, what the fuck do you mean? How can you have that pool of people and y'all not pull together to do this together for the collective community and call yourselves friends? I don't know. So there you go with that. Moving on. But I will say I have found, and then this is another example of what happens. Now, you on this level of commitment in your mind, you got to go to a fucking Facebook group with people 5,000 miles away from you to have a conversation about what to do in your own community, because ain't nobody in your own community talking about the shit. Then they'll be behind your back saying, oh yeah, she don't fuck with us. She be over there talking to them people in California and those people in London. Because y'all ain't want to be involved with the shit when I brought it to y'all. Alright. But, here she goes. But I will say I have had 2 offers from 2 different families that come from the same school I pulled mines out of, and it's definitely quite a bit of work that must happen because they are supposedly holding our kids back academically. Great. So out of the whole, I mean, we know this part down here at the last statement. And then Out of the whole school, right? Only had 2 offers from 2 different families to come and do the same thing. Which, you know, now that is a little different from the people. She's not just talking about her friends. Her friends may or may not have kids that go to the same school or in the same grade, all kinds of stuff. But now she's changed the population that she's speaking of to the actual school itself. And out of that whole population, only 2. You see how much bullshit we be on? And it don't matter what you look like. It don't matter what group you think you belong to. Out of the whole fucking school, only 2. Now, how that same communication circulating for you got 80% off at Foot Locker, or you got 5 bottles of laundry detergent for $2.50. Put that same email out and see how many people gonna show up at your door. But the shit that's actually fucking important. All right. So here's Evelyn Lewis talking about Preach It, Sherilyn Gibson. I knew you were the go-to person for this. She replies, I just think a lot of parents just need the encouragement that they can do this and don't need to be a teacher. They just need the drive and desire. See, because part of what it's going to take to actually make this a reality, which is why I started this conversation 4 years ago, not knowing exactly when it was going to actually be needed in our communities like last year, was so that people could start to wrap their minds around it, because it's not just the fact of saying, okay, let's homeschool our sons and daughters. It's the fact of, oh shit, if both parents are working to support the household, now we got to change up some shit so that we can afford to do this without, compromising a quality of life. Not to say that maybe you're might have to level down in what you think you have attained, so that maybe your overhead is less to do it with one person, or one person needs to step up and expand their business or something to be able to accommodate the extra support. So that gave time for that to be thought out in the actual individual households and process to be made there. But things were more important, like watching sports. So you can talk about how many points LeBron scored last night at the water cooler, because he's making 40-something million a year, while you're saying you can't homeschool your sons or daughters. But let's talk about him, right? Because that's important. So she continues to say, awesome, mazel tov. Mazel tov. What success is there in sourcing the best of all customs, all groups, and increasing efficiency? Great information. Oh, this is me. Excuse me. I didn't realize it was me talking. So, yeah, I'm saying awesome. Mazel tov. What success is there in sourcing the best of all customs, all groups, and increasing efficiency? Great information, SG. So if I see this clearly, the focus is on the students passing the test versus how the son or daughter acquires the information. If so, then we could establish the equivalent of education daycares in our community, grow the nodes, and unify it into regional centers. So what I'm saying is this, right? The way, when you homeschool, the way they verify, and I'm doing this from memory, like I researched this 4 years ago. When you homeschool, the way they verify like the grade level equivalent is you just gotta be able to pass like whatever they call it. It's like the grade level equivalent knowledge assessment. So if you're in theory, if your son or daughter could pass the high school all the way up, all the material all the way up to high school when they were 10 years old, they would get a high school diploma at 10 years old. I mean, if you could put that much work in and not stress yourself out, not overload the son or daughter in the learning environment, then technically you could have a 7-year-old high school graduate. because all you got to do is pass the equivalency test. And then the way I saw it was, I saw it like this, which maybe this is where my plan differed, is I saw it as, remember when we were growing up, especially if you're like a early millennial or earlier, I don't know how it worked after that. I remember we still had them when I was like in teens and 20s. They were still, but I don't know if it was still a thing the way it was. But you had that, every community had that one house, at least one, where the lady there, or even sometimes the family, they had a daycare, primarily servicing the community. You paid for them to go to daycare anyway when they're that young at this local daycare. So all we would have to do is have that same principle. Have a little daycare, and then you got to increase the fee, because now it's more than a daycare. It's a daycare and educational center. And of course, I know there's some that exist some places now, but I'm talking about, this used to be in every community thing. It was a daycare. All we had to do was change our mindset to invest, not try to short the owner, and then the owner not try to beat the clients and say, I'm charging this, but I'm only giving you this much real service. But let's go ahead and maximize our effort, both in how we support our community. Let's maximize what we invest in them, and then that brings them up to the ability to be able to maximize the investment into the sons or daughters, which is our future generations. Who am I talking to here? Who with me? So you do that, right? And then as they grow, because then they'll get, eventually the goal was, say the whole community gets wind of this and like, wow, that's a great idea. I want to put my son or daughter in there too. Well, now they have more resources. They need to expand to accommodate the community. So this is where I'm saying at the bottom here, if so, we establish the equivalent of educational daycares, typing fast back, them leaving letters out, but you get what I'm saying, in the community, and then grow the nodes into and unify into regional centers. Because basically, if you got, let's say now you got that going on in your community, in your neighborhood, maybe it's two neighborhoods right next door to each other, and they kind of are just that right size where they all can use this one in the one. So as it grows, and you step out a little further, well, now there's 5 neighborhoods. So now maybe you got one here, one there. Okay, why don't these 5 neighborhoods come together now that they see it's working in the way they got it, and put their resources together and get one bigger one, that they're all 5 neighborhoods can send their kids to the one bigger one. And then as you keep doing that, you'll come up with basically a replacement for the public school system. So I continue and say, you may have already considered that parents who are already homeschooling may wish to help administer the curriculum, while those households where all guidance is committed to a job can have sons or daughters satisfying the required course curriculum. Okay? So teacher and other professional instructors will eventually join the ranks in the campaign. So now you got teachers. Like, I invited teachers that was in the school district currently working in on this chat. I don't think they had any conversation. But now what would happen is you got the teachers complaining about the way the schooling system is set up. Those would have been the ones that would have saw the value of coming and saying, you know what, parents, I'm going to leave my job at the public school system, and I'm going to come do this for the community. You know, where can we meet at? They already don't pay me what education should be worth, but where can we meet at as a whole so I can come and bring my skill set to your community? No, but y'all worried about drafting people y'all worried about the NFL draft instead of teacher draft. The community should have been having teacher draft party, not NFL draft party. You see how our priorities is fucked up? All right. So to continue, the view should be on coming as close as possible, not just to satisfying the requirements here, talking about, anyway, you'll see, not just satisfying the requirements here, yet exceeding the requirements of the world stage. If we built it, shall it be whole in its intent? If there are kids in Southeast Asia building rockets, then our kids better know how to build rockets too. Are we that committed? Yeah, that comment got no likes. I'm used to that though, because it made so much fucking sense. And then it would require effort, and people would have to change. And oh my God, imagine somebody having to change, right? But then you're wondering why we're not competitive on the world stage. China's kids is over there building rockets that now got the irony is that this was 4 years ago, and now the U.S. government military is like, oh shit, we're scared of China's rockets. Yeah, because their kids was learning how to build rockets so that when they got older, they was building better ones. And, you know, our kids are trying to bleed ballers' life. Yeah, that's why. Makes sense when you think about it. So, indeed, they are teaching, and then SG comes in and says, indeed, they are teaching to the test, and the best way to determine this is with data is to find the scope and sequence for the district closest to you. And some of them like to hide it because they know it's wrong, but basically this shows that they are learning, or what they are learning, and how long the teachers is allowed to teach each unit. Excuse me. So regardless of your child's grasp the info or not, they must move on. And if the teacher has poor communication, you'll never know it. In a lot of cases, your child is struggling. But y'all want to keep them in the system. Oh, why? How can I say you want to keep them in the system? Because we're not doing nothing to make it any different. As a whole, it doesn't make any sense that you got three people that SG put, including herself, in one school that's looking to do this out of shit. When I graduated, I think our graduating class was like 800. I mean, that's maybe small compared to some schools now. Of course, the next wave of kids graduating was a little bit larger, and depending on where you at, you may have a class moving, up in the ranks at 1,000 at a time. So imagine how many kids in that school, and you only had three. All right, so where are we at here? Okay, definitely when I taught kindergarten readiness, I made sure each kid had what they needed to serve public school, because I knew my kids were going to areas that were poorly funded, or you had parents that did not understand school is not what it used to be, and these kids are not being equipped. They are being passed through, especially if they need extra help. Yeah, because that's extra help means extra money that they may or may not have gotten. That means extra investment of resources that they don't want to come up off of because it cuts in their profit. Like, Pasha, why you sound like you angry? Because I'm not angry, I'm serious. Y'all play too much. That's the difference. Y'all want to talk about things that make you feel all mushy and good inside. Fuck this shit, let's get real. I've been real all my life. And this is why I don't got time for fake ass shit anymore. So, continuing, and we definitely need to pull from all customs. See, she's answering my questions for me from her perspective. This is great. I applaud her for this. She was one of the few people that dove in and actually contributed something. So, and definitely need to pull from all customs / groups, because I model my homeschool after the Finnish model. We start a little later than traditional school, and we take a lot of breaks, but they are more focused. And here's Evelyn adding, so this looks like a good combo between brilliant minds. And some people, you got people in your life they'll say you're brilliant, and a year later they're talking shit about you. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that this is what she did, but I know you got people in your life that it causes confusion in your brain on your dealings and interactions with these people, because you know the value you added to elements, circumstances, their personal growth and development, their business success, their whatever it is. You done all this for them, and then how can they do that to you? You know? And I know I'm not saying it like, oh, woe is me or woe is you. I'm just saying, like, this is the mindset we need to eradicate from our communities. I mean, get rid of it completely. I mean, it needs to be gone. And if they ain't ready to change, then you see why you have situations of what some extreme groups will call some sort of cleansing, because they don't understand how they're a cancer to society. They don't understand how they're hindering progress. They don't understand that they're the reason why China kids building rockets, building computers, like all of them, not just this one special one that you want to call special and put on a pedestal and say, oh, they're so genius. No, we would all be able to do that if we had the same experience and exposure that that son or daughter support system gave them when they were that age. We would all be able to do it. There's no reason why America, all of our sons and daughters, shouldn't be fucking building computers, developing programs. I was fortunate enough to have computer class in kindergarten at the time in '85, working on brand new Macintoshes. So I grew up knowing this value of what it allowed me to accomplish, and I be trying to get people to get on board with it my whole life, but people play too much. Other things are cooler. Yep, you fly as hell right now, worried about China kids gonna bomb you because you were focused on being cool. You was at every party. You had all the drinks. And you can't protect your neighborhood. Y'all got hella Benzes, big ass Hummers, tons of trucks. And they ain't gonna go nowhere when the gas stop flowing. You don't have no industry you built. But y'all was so much cooler than me. And the people like me. Y'all was so much better than us. Look at what it cost you. Like, whatever movie it was, he was like, how many squirrels must die for you to look fly? You know what I mean? So look at all the people around you. All the murders in your neighborhood. All the murders in your city. That's because the economy fucked up. That's because you ain't do nothing to help it. You was too busy getting fly, getting drunk, partying, going on vacations, taking the money from your community and giving it to Barbados. Taking the money from your community and giving it to Hawaii. So you could take some selfies talking about, when you look at me, I'm on the beach, I'm cooler than you, I'm flyer than you, I'm doing more than you. Yeah, well, that's why last year ain't nobody do shit. Because you was busy doing more than everybody else instead of working to get everybody equally able to do. And y'all think this is the rock bottom. Y'all in for a fucking big ass surprise. Just remember, it's all your fault. It's all your fault. Let's keep going. So SG says, no, there are a few parents that are that committed and or willing or able to be that committed, meaning they cannot or will not give up their careers because money is everything. There you go. And I like to have other people talk because it translates what I already know into ways I wouldn't have said it, so that the message can reach more people. This is why I like dealing with the leaders, because they gonna take it and convert it into their swag, and the people that's following them follow them partly because they understand and respect their swag. My swag is different. They gonna look at me like I'm crazy. I've been in meetings where I go up to the presentation board, and I got all set up, and blah, 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 and they're sitting there like, we don't understand. And then I'm like, all right, well, who does? And then maybe the one person raised their hand. I'll be like, well, go ahead and translate it for me, because I'm not going to say there's something wrong with you because you don't have the experience and exposure I have to be able to take a compound equation situation and put it into an equation of 4 sentences. That's called high-level overview. Everybody doesn't have that skill set. I'm not going to fault you. Instead, who in here can tell them what I'm talking about? Because they'll think I'm trying to insult them. They'll call me rude. So for the better of everybody in the room, who here knows? Because I don't have the time to play games with the world at stake. So, this is where I kind of touched on earlier. So, on an assembly line, production must go on. This is why we have removed the product. We have to remove the product mindset wholeheartedly from our community homeschooling centers. This has neutralized reject rates based on use of natural environment and natural connections. So yes, shall our nation's focus be that of dominating the world stage curriculum? And when I say our nation, I mean what we should have been developing as a whole. It's a few of us working. Now we doing all the work by ourselves. We got to come up with all the money by ourselves. And then when we wind up putting together something this big instead of it for everybody, then they're going to be mad. But I'm telling you, I'm trying to cop missiles and tanks and everything because they can be mad if they want to. Because when we do it, we're going to do it right. Fucking 30 million, 32 billion, $3 billion jets. We need all that. Yeah, write the check. Because we can't keep what we can't protect. I don't have fancy rims. I never invested in fancy rims. Not to say that, there's something wrong with anybody who do. I'm just saying. I was too busy giving the fly ass shirt off my back to my neighbor so they could feel fly like me. Now I just wear basic tees because I'm somewhere else in life right now. All right, excuse me. But, I know somebody need to hear that. You know what I mean? Because you don't get credit for doing what you do. And I want you to know that I appreciate what you do because you out there doing that. You out there living like that. This is what you do. Or this is what you did and you moving along, progressing too. So respect to you. So yes, our nation shall be focused on dominating the world stage curriculum. I was in the advanced gifted program studying Greek mythology and analogies in 3rd grade. I got three top 10 finishes in events at the Science Olympiad, regional medals, blah, 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 right? And this ain't bragging. I'm just telling you how my whole life I've been trained to have the skill set to analyze this shit. And my dream was to be able to fucking do it for our community, but the only people that take me serious are the corporations, and they invest in me to do it for them instead. That's painful. You got all these skills, and the people you developed them to help, they don't even want you to help them because they don't want to give you they don't even want to consider what you worth or what it takes to do it even. So then they go around the corner to Johnny that's doing it for $5 and they get a $5 result and they wonder why you like, I don't even want to be a part of this. Because it's not the answer. It sounds good. It looks good. It looks like you're busy. It looks like you're doing something, but it's trash. And then when you see something that's really put together to put you're calling it trash because it's different and it means you got to change and understand stuff you don't understand. So you rather discredit it than to fucking save the community. It's so fucking backwards. All right. So I can imagine if I really went hard for those years, just like you can, we go hard at work and careers daily now. Shall our national homeschool take part on the world stage, providing the best equipment on the globe. So basically I'm saying, like, I went through that, like, could you imagine studying Greek mythology and analogies in 3rd grade? This is why people don't understand when I be telling what the truth is. Because they don't, some people, I know some of y'all out there get it, and I appreciate that. It's not talking down or bad about people. It's throwing the rope to them to actually come up to where you at. But they gotta first understand the value and the benefit of it, and why you see that would be value added to the community for them to actually want to make the climb. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to people. We're talking to people that can't process the truth because they haven't been trained to think. They haven't been trained to critical thinking. They only been trained to regurgitate what someone tells them, which is why you're always a conspiracy theorist and they're telling you what CNN said. Something's wrong with you because the scientists said this is what we should do. Right? The fucking truth is sitting plain sight right in your face, but no, the mind justifies what it wants to believe, and you're not wearing a suit and you have a beard. And did you even brush your beard today? Oh my God, why would I listen to you? Because you don't wear a suit and I don't think you brushed your beard today. As if that fucking matters. This is the problem. This is the problem with the world. This is the problem with your neighborhood. This is the problem with your state. Well, who's talking about the real problem? You go on people's Facebook page and tell them the truth, and they act like you came in their house. This is my page. Da, 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 da. Mother, this is the internet. You part of the whole internet, trying to regulate your little page because you don't control shit in your life, so you feel like you gotta really. No, you can't say that on my page now. No, because you don't have no control anywhere else. That's why. That's really what it is. You mad because you don't control your life, you don't control your house, you don't control what you do for work, you don't even really control what you eat, you can't afford what you really want every day. And so, where do you have the most control? Facebook page. I'm gonna make the most of this shit. I'm gonna censor the fuck out of my page. I'm gonna start. Matter of fact, I want to be in charge so bad of what people say and think. I'm gonna start a group and I'm gonna censor the whole fucking group. That's what I'll do. That's what Yo, my bad. Excuse me, but it's true though. I'm speaking facts. All right, so we're here. Finish models. So you're saying on Complete Go Hard model, potential future state, our sons and daughters could potentially be done college by 12 to 14 religiously. And what I mean by that is it's like, consistently will not to say there won't be people that need more work, need more help, but we could expect that our sons and daughters could be done college between 12 and 14 years old consistently. All right. And shall not the best be provided reward for are we not rewarded by their efforts? By then shall we have the drive for the machine, the fun and the funding. The beauty in the design is this will start with the single homes and grow into centers over time. Avoid time, see results. So indeed, she replies, indeed, but that will take a reset on the mind frame of the parents and the kids. You see what I'm saying? But we too busy bullshitting. We too busy saying we don't want to change shit. Some of y'all have family members that stay home, whether they ain't got no job or that's just how your family structure is set up, and they still send the kids to school. I got a sister who, when I really got to know the husband, was like, this is why family members don't want you in their business, because dude playing PlayStation all day, talking about everybody can't be a stay-at-home dad like him. And I got my nephews here that can't even fucking spell their own name at 3. And you gonna tell me that 3 is too early, but you with them every fucking day? They should be able to fucking spell their name and build a whole empire with Legos by now or something. You got all day long with these motherfuckers. What the fuck you doing? So when you got them by the neck, you're ready to choke them up, and then your sister come in, oh my God, you're messing up my marriage. No, I'm trying to protect my family. But see, people don't want protection unless they in their mind cause what they need you to come and protect them from. See, that's the problem. Oh, if I call you and say I need you to fuck somebody up for me, I need you to be there. Oh, well, if I'm trying to prevent you from ever having to even be in that situation, oh, now I'm fucking up your life, though. Fuck out of here, man. Ain't nobody got time for that shit. You gonna go to jail for them people, fighting over them for them, and they gonna be back together in 2 weeks. That's why the community's fucked up the way it is. All of them. I don't care if you think you're in a rich neighborhood or a poor neighborhood. The same shit go on in all these motherfucking spaces. So anyway, let's get back to it. So it would take a reset of the mind frame of the parents and the kids, because a lot of parents are afraid to let their kids enter into the arts because they are thinking product/money. Because let's be honest, not many have the conversation regarding being an adult and how to properly function as such, because they are just basically just barely existing themselves, right? And then here I'm doing a little self promo, shameless plug. Pasha Paro, or Paro no Koda Wudet in this case, Great House Distinguished Restored, because that's my mentality. I'm trying to, way before Trump became a thing, I was trying to make America great again. I just didn't make the campaign slogan and have a red hat. What was I thinking? So, yeah, she continues, you will not see third graders doing that now because so many are playing catch up. Expand this one out. 12 to 14 is probable, but a rarity because, again, even in Gohart's situation, it's based upon the abilities of that child, because as much as I could learn stuff all day, I know when mine have had enough, they are like, okay, we're done. And then you don't want to rob them of being kids, because this time frame is super important to being a functioning, productive adult. And that's ironic now because, I mean, granted, that's probably the way most people would look at it. And the irony in that is, I just did a video more recently, like in the last 4 weeks, where it was talking about how in the sports world, it became a thing to get your kids involved in their sport super early, fucking drill the hell out of them their whole life, so that by the time they graduate, they're going to the majors, whether that's college or high school in some cases. So when it comes to sports, oh my God, we can sacrifice our kids' lives for that. You know what? Go to school, get your job. Matter of fact, no, don't go to school. We're homeschooling you, not because we want. This is crazy. I just thought about this. There's situations where I've seen where they're like, yeah, we're homeschooling our kids. We had to pull them out of school so that we can maintain traveling baseball or traveling basketball. And, we really want to focus on their football career. So we're pulling out of school and we're going to educate them from home for football, which is not even a guaranteed career. But when you're trying that hard to make them good at football, it makes sense to pull them out of school, because it's a waste of time to have them in school because you can develop more time towards football. I can't be the only one that sees this. I know I'm not. So, okay. And then now think about that, though. If we did take our kids... And you know what the thing is with that? The thing actually is with that is that anybody's going to do that with something that they don't enjoy doing. So when a kid likes to play video games, right? When they are doing something they enjoy, maybe it's video games today. For us, it might have been riding our bikes, because we'd be all over the place, exploring, doing things, whatever. So, whatever it is that they enjoy doing, do you not have to like almost tear them apart from it to get them to come in and eat, to have them go to bed, to tell them why are you up so early, you can't do that right now. You know what I mean? Like, you see where I'm going? When it's something they enjoy doing, you can't keep them from doing it. They want to do it all day long anyway. The thing is, that's what happens when you're. So if we looked at our sons and daughters and said, oh wow, what are they actually interested in, and started, give them the core curriculum, but then seeing what they actually found stuff that they enjoy. This is why you see the Facebook videos being shared where you got a 7-year-old that's making beats on a computer on current software with keyboard and everything. They're like 7 fucking years old. Why? Because at some point they found out that's what they like to do. They invest in that shit, gave them all the time in the world. That motherfucker sat in there all day long. And what was maybe crazy clatter in the beginning now starting to take shape and take form, and it's going to be a serious producer by the time he's 10 years old. You see what I'm saying? Maybe for someone else it is tennis. Or maybe that person that's being forced into tennis at 10 really wanted to build rockets, and we could have been, shooting down China's rockets. You know what I'm saying? But you was too busy trying to make him a tennis player because you was thinking about that was your retirement ticket instead of actually investing in something your kid would actually enjoy doing. Not to say they won't be good at tennis, but maybe they were born to be the rocket scientists, and you never let them do that. Oh, okay, so that brings us up in here. So by forcing focus on currency, you kill off most of their Plato's, Banneker's, etc. Truth? You know what I mean? You kill off the Einsteins or the Picassos or the Leonardo or the Da Vinci's. You know what I'm saying? The Beethovens. You kill them off because you're forcing them into careers that you think is going to make money for them, or education so they can go into a career, and they never get to realize their, like she said earlier, the art that they would have really enjoyed. Making rockets is an art. You know what I mean? So someone said the richest place in the world, I continue, is in the graveyard. So many ideas, dreams, and goals lay there. Yeah, because we never invested in ourselves. We was too busy investing in Nike. You see what I'm saying? This is how simple this is. The truth is so simple, but emotional attachments fuck everything up. Oh my God, you want me to not buy Nike so I can support the neighbor who's trying to make a sneaker? Look at their sneakers. Well, so was the first Nikes. In comparison to what they doing now, first Nikes was just like your neighbors. Maybe if you realize that, you would invest in a neighbor, help them, give them some ideas. Maybe you come over with a design of your own, help them put it together, or give it to them so they can put it together. Right? And then one day your neighbor would be an American version of Nike, and your community would have all of that cash flow circulating through it to build your community, like Nike built in China. But I don't know, that just makes sense, right? Okay, so SG comes back and says that's a very true statement, because think of how many have been cut short, or those who simply didn't have the means to act on their idea. Our nation now, and you know what? It's not that they were cut short, and a lot of times it's not that they didn't have the means. It's that it wasn't given. It wasn't accessible. They had the means, but they were too busy saying, "I'm saving up so I can buy $1 million house," instead of putting $1 million into a family business, so that you could buy the $1 million house off of the $1 million business profit, instead of off the 9-to-5 job that really puts you into 18 more years of saying, "Oh, we can't do this because I gotta work, your mother gotta work." So our nation is mining twice as much ore, right? Ideas, dreams, and goals today as it did 3 years ago. Find the ore in you. Aren't we all a gold mine? Wow, I should like repost that now today. That's amazing. Okay, so, and then she responded, "Indeed, and because we have been taught to hate ourselves, or that we are a ghetto, most of our ideas are stolen, and then they are trendy." I wonder if you and me have experienced anything like that. Okay, we'll continue. So, true. Based on the child's capabilities, we can determine what they are good for. All right. So, excuse me. Based on the child's abilities, we can determine what they are good for. So look into the Chinese theory of picking what their citizens are going to become, and or periodically testing our trajectory using tools like Wonderlic, disc assessment theory, and even Dawn Nicole's "What Would Your Secret Sauce" program as potential calibers, or what's your secret sauce? See, I told you I'll be plugging people just because you're around me, and then they act like they don't know you. So it's cool. This is why we can't do nothing together. Wonderlic score is a great test if you want to look into that. Per the disc assessment, I'm a creative dominant. So this is right up my alley. Like, I'm supposed to create the ideas, the processes, and then give them to the dominant people. So when I found that out from my assessment, I was like, damn, that's really what I be doing. Now, at the same time, for my disc assessment, which was professionally administered, not just like an online, let me take this test and see what the results, or this Facebook, quiz, and then they post your little picture saying that this is what animal type you are. Nah, fuck that. This was a professional thing done through the Business Administration Center. Jobs. It's crazy when you so crazy the jobs send you to the situation like that just to make sure that what's your work type personality. Hold on, this motherfucker be talking about America, not U.S. citizen. We gotta check him out. Get him tested. Run some tests on this motherfucker. All right, so and then here's some. Okay, so some say you can tell a lot of person about what they hold on to, and these are actually my 3 medals that I got for, like, the highest place I finished on an event was 3rd out of the whole nation. One of these is a 3rd place medal for the whole nation or region. We went down to DC and we had to compete, so it was a big deal. And we brought this shit home for our school district. So, and I was sitting there smoking weed with my neighbors after school, just like you. I mean, I just had fun doing shit. Didn't carry no books in school. They thought I was bad, which I kind of was. And then, I came from the same neighborhood you did, so we were all doing that type of shit. So I remember I used to skip algebra like 2-3 days a week, because the second week of class, the teacher was already asking me to stop answering questions so other kids can get a chance. So I was like, well, I'll just stop going. Like, I used to get off the school bus, go find my friend, and be like, yo, back when I used to do titles, be like, yo, you got $1.15? He like, yeah. I was like, all right, we gonna catch the bus home. We gonna skip school, go catch the bus home, play Nintendo 64. You down? Yeah, let's go do that. All right, hold on. First, let me go check with Miss McEnany at William Penn High School, Newcastle, Delaware, and see what we doing in algebra today. Not that I'm to do the homework, but just so that I know it's something that I already know. You know what I'm saying? And I would literally go stop by the class while she was having homeroom. Yo, Miss Mac, what's up? What we doing in class today? And she already know what the drill is. What, you not going to be in class today? No, I'm going home play Nintendo. Out of a whole year, she wrote me up one time, because she's like, I just had to write you up one time. You be doing it all the time. I had to write you up one time. You know what I'm saying? We got to make this shit cool instead of shooting ourselves and shit like that over dumb shit. But y'all don't want to hear that music as much today, but we're gonna make that change tomorrow too. So back to the grill again. All right, so SG says exactly, because as much as we want them to be doctors, lawyers, etc., some just aren't cut out for that, because these days there's money and everything for them not to be that and still be successful and breed the same. But then that also takes parents open and honest and paying attention to how their child learns, because we all do not learn the same, but schools say otherwise, or there must be something wrong with you. Gaslighting. Check out that song by me, Pasha, Gaslighting. it actually says that there must be something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. Okay, so then, all right. So here you go. Here's the Wonderlic. Here's my Wonderlic score, and I'm giving this stuff because it's stuff that I've experienced. You know what I mean? So when I mentioned the Wonderlic and the disc assessment earlier, it was like I know what that means. You can do and how it'll help you say, okay, well. Anyway, let's get to it. This is what my son or daughter might actually, or is more likely to actually enjoy doing based on their personality types, based on their work personality types, based off of this. So let's kind of start moving them that direction. We'll narrow it down later, and we can put them in something they'll enjoy doing that you have to pry them away from, and then we would have rockets that would compete with China's. You know what I'm saying? I don't like when people be like, hey, oh, you think you're so smart. No, I just think if everybody had the same experience and exposure, we would all be able to do what I know I can do. And there's people beyond what I'm able to do mentally and just thought process. It's really not that special. Like geniuses, you know, they're made like anything else. There's very few people that naturally come out and just say, oh, I'm a piano genius, and they're at 6 months they're playing Mozart. No, you gave them the opportunity and experience and exposure that they develop themselves. And some people have a predisposition to maybe be more successful at learning that skill, but anybody could do it if given the right time and training. That's why I don't call me smart. I just have certain experiences and exposures that I think could be beneficial to the community. So then when we can measure fruit, right? Is what I'm saying here. For example, a 34 Wonderlic score says I should be at least a chemist. I laugh because I perform at least chemistry daily. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is why I never was like, oh my God. Because I be looking like I do this shit all the time anyway. And then, this is where you get your data from. Like, I'm way overqualified for this job. As technical as they said it was, I'm this much overqualified for the position that they almost didn't want to hire me because I was too far off above the green area. Like, so when I say I tested the top 2 percentile of the nation, I'm not joking. And then people be like, oh, you're saying. I had someone come back to me one day and say, when you at the at the work site, one of the managers one of my management, because I reported to, by the time I was leaving, I reported to the engineer, the supervising engineer. I ain't even got a degree, but that's part of what I enjoy doing because I can do anything I want to do mentally. I'll be like, fuck that, I don't need a degree. And they be like, well, how do you think? Look, let me show you I can do this shit because I've already been doing it. I was the only one in a position, non-production, that didn't have a degree in the whole plant. Because I don't let shit like paperwork and titles and anybody else tell me I can't do what I know I can do. And then as soon as they see you do it, they're like, fuck, that's fucking amazing. How did you learn how to do that? Motherfucker, it makes sense. What the fuck you want me to say? I don't need to be called an engineer to do engineering shit. Just give me that engineering laptop, throw them motherfucking engineering programs on there, and give me an extra 2 to 4 weeks to figure this shit out. Then because I didn't go to school for it. But guess what? I'm going to give you the same quality or better. And you're going to get it for cheaper. But the value I get is I'm going to be able to go to my community and put this to work in the community. Oh, wait a minute. They don't want that investment. So they were telling me one day, and I like to learn from every experience. And I'll divert for a moment, share a little bit about myself. It'll only take a few seconds. They were like, when you say that to people that you test in the top 2 percentile, it makes them feel like that you think you're better than them or smarter than them. And I'm like, dumbasses. And this is literally what I told my manager. I was like, that's dumb as shit. Those dumbasses should have came and just asked me a question. If they felt like they didn't understand what I was saying, That's what I do. If I don't understand what you're telling me, I ask the question for clarity. Just like I do on people's Facebook page. That's why they want to kick me off their Facebook page, because I ask questions that make them insecure. So, anyway, what it really projects is this. Because I test in the top 2 percentile, I know that you got 100%. So if I test in the top 2 percentile, that means that 98% of the population, they're not going to get me right away when I talk to them. You know, about, especially about high level shit where I'm giving you an equation and a thought process in a short paragraph or 2 sentences, and they're emotionally attached to variables and normative social influence and all this other bullshit. So it's going to be extra effort of work. This is why I was like, oh, that's why I like to talk to the local heads of state, so to speak, right? And let them go and communicate their swag. Because I don't feel like wasting my time learning all these different languages so I can speak to the other 98%. Now, of the 98% that actually want to learn, then cool. That's not a poor return on investment, because they're putting in the work to meet me. Instead of, when people say, hey, come down to our level, man, fuck that. I can't do that, because then the more time I spend down here, the more shit I forget to be able to do up here. It's not personal. It's like telling an NBA player to stop practicing with other NBA or D League players and start practicing with, the local 4th grade community basketball team, rec league, to sharpen their skills. I mean, no, he comes in, he talks to the coach, tells him what he wants the kids to work on, maybe spend a day with him doing this, that, and the other, work on some drills, and then he goes back to the NBA training so he can keep his skills sharp. The kids at the basketball team don't be like, oh, Kobe, well, maybe that's not a good example. I was going to say Simmons. I don't really know sports like that, so I'd be like, who can I think of real quick? Because I don't waste time with that shit. But the irony is Simmons is like really not whatever he's going through right now. Recently, I think he's back. Whatever, I don't know. So that would have been funny. But you get what I'm saying. They don't complain like, oh, LeBron left us and he's not coming back no more, and that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Nah, they realize while he was there, it was a special opportunity that they'll value for the rest of their life, only because he's already famous and successfully reached that part of his career, and they'll remember that opportunity, and most of them make the most of it the rest of their life. But because you live next door to them and you're not on TV and you don't wear a suit and you got a beard and you ain't had a shape up in 5 years because you don't give a fuck about that bullshit, they gonna not receive the same value from you, the local people you trying to help. All right, let's continue. So SG says indeed, and then I continue with, and that's how we tell the difference between Banneker and a Ford salesman. While respecting each has its place in society, allowing us to push that individual the farthest, the earliest, in the right direction for them, empowering your inner Picasso to be fully equipped for all your desires in life. Like, at this point, why are we still the only two having dialogue here? I mean, we had somebody pop in and say, "Oh, great conversation between my." Why are we the only two? I tagged 37, 40 people. Half of them were in the community talking about they there for you, doing great works. Support me. Don't fuck with Pasha. He don't know what he talking about. So now we know what we want, right? It's gonna take to get a few daycare style centers on the grid. Who would be interested? What overhead, small numbers means our tuition is low to start due to smaller venue requirements. Would tuitions be paid like daycare or more like traditional tuitions, etc.? What's the legal red tape? You see what I mean? Like, I run projects. This is nothing to me. This is why they don't want me to talk to the government, the local government. This is why they want to be the ones that the governor sees, not me. Because one, the governor probably don't want to fund these projects because, like I said, it's going to shut down the public school system. Two, if they do fund it, that means I'm getting resources that they probably wanted to get so they could bullshit and say they did something. And who knows what the fuck really they did. I'm not saying that every community group don't do shit. I'm just saying they've been doing shit for a long time. Let me know what they done. All right. So workout standards, while it's still small, as each level of growth brings its own challenges. Now, let me correct what I just said. Let me clarify, rather. When I say let me know what they've done, I mean it's a difference between saying, hey, let's pick the low-hanging fruit so that we can say we accomplished something, right? Versus saying, you know what, we're going to have to go way up to the moon if we want to fix all of this shit between here and the moon. Like, let's fix the real issues instead of just saying, hey, we put some paint on the wall, but your structure is failing, but it looks nice. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So when you look at what's been accomplished, what's really been accomplished? Because apparently things are still the fucking same. Actually, things are worse. That's why they don't want you to know about me, because I know what it takes. So, and then I'm, having some humor here back. I guess I had some McDonald's there, and I kind of rarely eat that. That must have been a busy day. Or I must have just been having a real weird craving. But, so great meeting. And I'm, even I find humor in doing the work. This is why I don't need comedy shows and comedians in my life, right? Because I'm too busy enjoying what I do. So I'm laughing like, haha, digital lunch. Because we're working this out on the internet. We could have had the whole fucking nation on this Facebook post. Talking things out. Then when we got done, they could have went to their community and talked things out further. But for some reason that didn't occur. But the person tripping over the crates, that goes viral. Shows you what our priorities are. That's why China got rockets that we don't. This is why you can't get ships to unload at the ports, because we were too busy doing crate challenges instead of figuring out how to optimize the ports. And actually, instead of figuring out how to optimize the ports, we was too busy doing crate challenges, or the equivalent of whatever it was 5-10 years ago, instead of figuring out how to have your community become self-sufficient. You was too busy wanting to have the best car on the block that you could afford to maximize your payment and everything, so that you could say you were doing better than your neighbor instead of saying let's work together. But you want people like me to respect you. We may not have access to the money you have. We may not have the connections you have. But at some point, you got to remember that's why you have those connections, and that's why you have the money that you have. Because they know you ain't going to do shit with it. But run your mouth. So see, that's the struggle, because I gave case study. This is her talking. I gave case study to some of the players in my area, like Cannon and Covoy, whoever that is. I'm not, and all of them basically had the same start, a one room type of start, and they built from that. Okay, so these must be like so Corvian started as a private tuition paid program, then converted to a charter program using tax dollars to exclude and categorize our children. Canon is private tuition paid, and if you can't pay it, you can dang sure finance it But my issue has always been finding parents willing to ride the journey to make it happen. I can't teach the kids find the money and build the program/community alone. It takes work. Exactly my point. Exactly my point. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me a second. So, all right. So, indeed, digital lunch. Ha 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 ha. So, can we write this off? Okay. So she's got the Krispy Kreme. I had the McDonald's. That was definitely a poor meal choice day for us. But you know what? It probably is due to how we actually feel with the current situation, and everything that's going on. I mean, we you know, this is definitely this is sad. I mean, not this is emotionally, I don't even know how to describe it. This is a pain. This is a pain point to me, because when I'm looking at this, right, I'm looking back at this saying, hey, look, if people had listened 4 years ago, what would last year look like for real, for real? Look at all the people struggled, suffered, had to go through what they went through when we could have already been prepared. And what I find in my life, like, I know there's a lot of people that are facing the same struggle, have the same passion. Passion means suffering. So we're telling people stuff years in advance, and we got to watch them suffer. And that causes us pain to watch them suffer. And then not only does it cause us pain to watch them suffer, especially knowing that we did everything we could to help them, but then because they would rather suffer, now the whole environment has to suffer, which includes now we're suffering because nobody wanted to listen. So you know what? When you get tired of suffering because other people enjoy suffering, what do to the people that want to suffer? Because they're going to bring the same suffrage on you. What do you have to do eventually to remove the suffering from your life? You can't go and say, hey, I'm going to move over here to this neighborhood, because the ignorance and the suffering is going to get so bad, it's going to eventually spread to where you are, unless you do something about it. So what do you do? All right. So, indeed, digital lunch. Can we write this off? So, Sherilyn, Evelyn, and now we have Lisa. All right. And it's a public post, by the way. So, meet education. This touches resource management by efficient use of natural resources, local preparedness, based on the type of future, community we wish to achieve. A sense of place by centers closest to the lakes offer boating. The ones closest to the woods and mountains offer survival. I had, Sarim, he was on there. We're no longer connected. Multiple nodes will lead to regional cooperation. Transportation, as busing students will be in less demand, saving gas and reducing stressful AM commutes, lowering the city's overall gas consumption and environmental footprint, all while galvanizing educational opportunities to enable all community residents access to improved job skill, totally increasing community health by easing the access to critical goods and services while building safe and clean neighborhoods and good job opportunities. But they'll say they're looking for a grant writer and go give somebody $2,000 or $5,000 to write some shit for them that they talk about the grant didn't go through, because the motherfucker don't know how to promote value. They forget you when it comes to, hey, who we want to give $5,000 to write something for us. Okay. So hashtag GWriter. I don't do titles. I design success. And we had I put in build-in review. So Emerald Sauce in the community, Dawn Nicole, we're no longer connected. tell everyone a little about who you are, and look, giving her an opportunity to tell her about what she can contribute. Plug my man's here at the, I try to put people in position to just benefit the community all the time. I've been doing it my whole life, and that's why it really irritates me. The way the mindsets of people are, and we just got to get rid of certain mindsets because it's costing our community way too much. So, already offers basic survival strats. It has an exercise the weekend of the 24th in the Charlotte area, and please tell a little bit about yourself to benefit. So, now, what else, all besides something even more evolutionary than STEM, may be required or needed, no matter the specialty of our students, for them to be the best product of the world has to offer? Financial literacy, she says. In my time, in the high schools, kids would ask me questions all the time because parents are literally not talking to the kids more so at them. All right, so no, the parents are too busy feeling stressed the fuck out from having to work all day, come home trying to go run errands or do whatever it is they want, having meals prep, and instead of taking time they have left to invest in their family on that level, they're too busy telling them, leave them the fuck alone, do what I say because I keep a roof over your head, shut the fuck up, get out of my face, go outside and play, anything but let's build. And I know there's some families out there that's really pro this, but generally speaking, this is what we got. And we can blame the people like in the guardianship scenario, but we can't actually totally fault them because the economy is so fucked up that it puts them in a situation where they have to dedicate these hours for this little amount of money. So it takes all of these hours to do it. Maybe they could have had when you got somebody that wants to have a 6-bedroom home and there's only 3 people in the family, is that the, because we'll have an asset. No, you didn't learn that's not an asset if you're living in it. It's a liability. So your whole mindset's messed up, got you paying more than you really should. So now you don't have, all this shit. It's all the same confusion wrapped up over and over again, repeating in different forms. So Sarim says, born in the streets, shout out to him for at least responding at the time. So born in the streets, left the streets for Ranger School in 89, air assault, broke my boots in Iraq, 90 to 92, Sudan 94, Somalia and Bosnia 95 to 97, vegan since 2003, trials and tribulations over the years, encouraged to give skills back to our people, lacking the basics for self-sufficiency. Besides that, biological science major and holistic health practitioner, part-time AEMT in between. See? This is what I try to bring to the community. Why? Well, what happens is I'm not the person that needs to be the face of it. So sometimes you got people that want to, not saying, it's not what he did, but sometimes people, they want to get you out of being in the middle of it. Like they did, I don't know, they thought that you wanted to be in the middle of it. So they, a couple people that they want to get to your friends and get to your people, and then the people that don't want to see you maybe in this position, they want to get to them and tell them, oh, don't fuck with them, fuck with us. And why the fuck is all this shit going on? Y'all still ain't done shit. I'm not saying you're not doing nothing. Remember I said that earlier. But ain't nothing changed. Because y'all worried about the wrong shit as a community. So here we are, Mula Lansky, Ryan Smith. What would be our nation's fitness goals? What would our nation's fitness goals look like? Gary Lumpkin used to live down the street from me, played ball for Xavier, ran point guard, used to ball with him at the boys club. I crossed him up a few times, dropped the little drainer in his face at the park, at the boys club. I was actually pretty good at ball. I just couldn't dunk. So anyway, who else in fitness that can come chime in on physical. Jamal, and then Elliot Barber, talk to me. Okay? Like I said, I'm trying to get the community involved here. Everybody got an opportunity to shine. Everybody got an opportunity to connect with their resources. To me, there's no excuse why we didn't pull this together in 4 years, other than the individual ego keeping us divided. Greed for money, greed for resources, greed for recognition, greed for attention, greed for I'm cooler than they are. Fuck with me, don't fuck with them. And that greed left the community with nothing. Nothing they could stand on. So Sherilyn comes in and says, indeed, another thing, food sourcing and understanding nutrition, because our bodies are designed to heal themselves. Facts. We just talked about that on yesterday's video. Part of getting into that level is mindset, which is why our communities are still in need of healing. So we'll need libraries in case technology is lost, courtesy of Evelyn Lewis. So we need a food program theory that talks to our health and fitness, and I called in a Bay, and earlier trade options like beauty to Kenya Bay and Chantel Evans, you know what I mean? Tagged them in the conversation, you know? So Jamal did respond to the first thing would be eating properly. Our bodies were meant to heal themselves. What we eat helps the process. The medicine we take usually starts with natural plants. The physical aspect can be mainly done with calisthenics, bringing back any form of physical activities in the schools. Homeschool should be a priority. So either at the same time, there's people that didn't do nothing, and then there's people that tried to do something maybe and pretended it was their idea so that they could, again, get the recognition, get the greed, get the, you know, all the stuff. And that's maybe why it still wasn't put together right, because you're trying to cut out the person with the skill set to put it all together. Not saying that they're not utilizing the resources of the community to make it happen. But like I said, I've been running projects my whole life. Not just claiming we got some shit done. So Sherilyn came through, says, which is why the Finnish people have it down to a science. Those breaks are physical activity moments. Boom. I mean, we're learning here. We're building. This is what Facebook should look like. If you're Facebook friends, and this is why I literally got rid of everybody. And I started over. And every now and then I go through and I screen. And if you're talking about bullshit, we probably not going to be friends long, because this is what we need to be doing. This is what I want my Facebook page to look like. Everything I drop, almost, I do have a couple moments of humor there I try to put in, you know. But this is what I expect the people on my Facebook page to do with my page. So when I go to someone's page and they dropped a comment, or they done got a post, and I'm in there dropping the science for them so that their page, their whole page, not just them, can learn from it. And they telling me, you know, this is their Facebook page and I shouldn't. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're part of the problem. It's the simplest way to put it. So what's preventing our students from being able to graduate with real estate license? So I called in the realtors. Boom, let's talk about that, because there's no reason why after this conversation we shouldn't have had everything mapped out. I left it like this because I knew we had mapped it out in my mind. Like, I already know I got the answers I need. I just need the connections that's gonna ride with me to say, you know what, we know you can put this shit together. I mean, 3M trusted you with a whole $40 million a year business. I think we can trust you with our neighborhood. But what do I know? Why would I think that, right? Also, to add, this is why I don't beg people. Like, I'm not gonna beg you to help you. I'm not chasing you. I don't even chase relationships, like regular relationships. I'm not gonna chase you. Fuck's wrong with you? So also to add, they should understand that everyone's body doesn't process, grow, gain, or lose weight the same and survive. They should understand their own bodies and how it works for them. And what I mean when I say there's no reason why we shouldn't have this put together is I'm really saying this is now we're building on the curriculum. We got the if you remember earlier when I gave the little synopsis, that was the whole blueprint of, okay, this is how it would work structurally. And this is how it would expand over time. Now I'm to the point here in the conversation where we're talking about building and perfecting our curriculum. Okay, we're going to need this type of science about health, not just physical education. Can you climb this rope, pass? You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to really be this is the opportunity for us to get all of this information in to our curriculum that we would do at our own community schools. Excuse me. And then they said, and I say, yes, future generations must have knowledge of wealth building from a young age. Sherilyn Gibson, what's the finished ratio of work to play? And Jamal, this is Jamal, decide if you agree with that stat when it appears. Hey, Sherilyn, are the finished people always done first? Like, we're having fun while we're doing this. And like I said, you see if you want to recognize someone lead by example, you see that I admit that I don't know what I don't know. So I'm calling on the experts in my network at the time. Hey, here's the opportunity. Let's talk this out. And then these are some of the people that didn't participate in this will be the same people telling you that you ain't done nothing for the community. Oh, you mean I didn't write the community a check? Oh, okay, that's fair. That's all you focused on. I gave them the fucking key to the world, and they're too busy saying you ain't do nothing for the community because they don't want people to know what you actually can do for the community, what you attempted to do for the community, because then they may not be who they are today. Because their people might actually say, well, we need to fuck with, what are we doing over here? We bullshitting. All right, so Jamal, get the download from Dawn and write an ebook on community. Look, see, I'm plugging everybody. Everybody should be able to eat off what we do. Who plugs you when they got something going on? You know how much cross promotion I just did in this post? Who cross promotes you after this done? You got people that act like they don't even know you. You got people that don't even want to give you any never mind. So get the download from Dawn Nicole and write the ebook for the community on how to ID which category they belong to and what category of healthy living they should focus on to combat that. Keep it simple, 10 pages or less, $2 download or something kids can afford. We all must learn the power of circulating a dollar. But then they asked me why do I sound angry today? Even though I'm not angry, I'm just serious. It's because I don't have emotional attachments. I'm numb to pain because I've been through so much. But this hurts. It hurts. It hurts to know that you know the reasons why this shit didn't work. And that the whole nation had to suffer. And what it did to the country, the real nation, to the people. Because they weren't prepared for what you were trying to save them from. Because they were too busy wanting to be cooler, have more recognition, have some more money, keep the money away from you. Let's not invite them on this project. They might outshine us. This is what it costs your community. This is what it costs your neighborhood. This is what it costs your school. This is what it cost your job when it shut down. This is what it cost your household when the mortgage went 16 months behind. You are the company you keep. And you guys were so excited for them, or they were so excited for them, and they were so much talking shit about you. Right? So, this is still talking about the download stuff. Crooks Top Goon, check him out. Lala Marie, she wrote a book. Linda Minor, aka Wilmington. Anitra Brown, King Visions. How do we balance creative writing? Because these are all authors that wrote their own books at the time. So how do we balance creative writing and comprehension to the point we can interpret law in our teens? So, Ira Parker, Kevin, Nevaeh. All right, these are all music people. DJ Strategy, Raphael Capone. Tell them what does the music, tell them what music does to the soul and why our nation needs strong music programs. Or just give us a quick break and drop some pics of your award-winning motors. We got Chantel Evans. Great discussion. I just would like to add that once the mental is balanced, usually the physical will follow. I advocate for education and self-discipline. I'm willing to be a student and a teacher together with collaboration and dedication. I'm sure anyone will be valuable to the nation building process, and I look forward to working together to reunite and build. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Right? So, Sherilyn Gibson, creative writing piece related to them. Pull relative cases that involve their everyday transactions, make them defend those actions using the law, incorporates writing, research, and they learn the law. 45 minutes of work. Okay, this is the split that defendants use. 45 minutes of work, 10 minutes of play. I guess it's a 5-minute break per hour there. So, Jamal, we need some 10-minute calisthenics maps. Tremaine Washington, we're not connected anymore. And then Elliot. So, the physical people could have developed programs for us to have for the kids for those 10 minutes of calisthenics or work. So, thank you all for building on the brand's parking lot blog. Blah, 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 blah. A little self-promo. So, Sherilyn Gibson, 4510 is the other 5 minutes. Look, I asked the same question then. Damn. So, is the other 5 minutes a rest period, or does the clock restart on the 45 minute? And she says it goes right into restart. All right. So, we're out of that little chain. And then here I put, what shall our communities expect? This was something I created, a visual back in the day. My skills a little better now as far as what the people appreciate when image-wise. What shall our communities expect when education is is a for-profit product? At this rate, our kids will be made in China by 2027. Damn. That's what I'm saying. The memories sometimes, they just be like, oh shit. So, Evelyn just said Sherilyn Gibson. All right, so Here's an article I shared. Utah girl, 11 years old, is a full-time college student. We're almost done, y'all. Appreciate y'all. So, Helena Christopher said, I want to homeschool my kids. Barbara McKinney says, have you begun or are you still interested in homeschooling? Helena, can you think of any benefits we may have missed? Helena says, yes, many. Time from our kids we can't get back. Education starts at home. We allowed the government to manipulate us. Then it comes to education. School systems still suck. The money is supposed to go to education. There really is no paper trail. The lottery is a ripoff. They say 10% goes to education. Please, more of it should be given to education. If you don't send your kids to school, they want to lock you up. Food for thought. It's a natural disaster. If a natural disaster happens, or any type of chaotic situation, how are we to protect our family if our kids have to go to school and we are far away at work? It's a power conversation. But they play too much. They rather play games. If a natural disaster happens or any type of chaotic situation, how are we to protect our family if our kids have to go to school and we are far away at work? You have to get kids vaccinated to go to school. I mean, I can't make this stuff up, people. The list goes on. I'm all for education. Our children may not get treated fairly, and I'm dealing with that now. Okay, so yes, great points. Definitely would benefit us to be around our culture more. At least that's going to be required if we are to ever restore a culture here, Helena. There's very little youth have to go home for in today's society. So is there any question why home and home rituals, which may lead to morals and values, are becoming more obsolete today? Yes, many people I talk to are unaware of Project Paperclip. Check that out. The Germans at the time were far more advanced in the study of the mind. When the U.S. government asked them people to how to control a population of people, they agreed you must start the brainwashing at a young age. Thus, look this up for yourself. Shortly after World WW, U.S. Gov took over the public school systems. This is a war. This might be a war, people. What are you doing? So that part of why I advocate for homeschooling has the system is not broken. It's doing what it's designed to do. And then I continue with there's rumors that say that, well, this is, you can read this if you want. Pause the video, go ahead and read this. This part here is not as value added as the stuff we went over earlier. I don't know how long I've been on here. The video may be a little long for some people, and I'm hopefully that people get this far in it. So, and then here I am saying, I always wonder about vaccinations. Is it like the human version of, right? All right, you can stop the video, pause that, read it yourself if you like. Here you can check out, you can pause the video, read this response if you like. You can read that if you like. You can read that. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, let's tag in some people with holistic medicine experience, not pills or nutritionists, people who focus on holistic practice. We must be able to grow our own medicine just like food. Who do we know? Blink. No reply. Okay. And then I homeschool. Barbara says I homeschooled 4 daughters. My youngest 2 homeschooled through high school and graduated early. So yes, that is the info I'm looking to collect, especially from those whose kids graduated early. Based on 4 years, for every 2.5 years, it can become a standard 18-year-olds to have college degree. So Barbara McKinney, please review the comments and add any detail or comments that you feel could be useful from your experience. Look, at this point, I gotta go, man. I just, Pasha Paro, Y97. Thank you for tuning.